The stars above Andarian Prime were red with fire. The skies had once been calm. Blue clouds drifted slowly above crystal towers. The Zoltrians, tall, graceful aliens with glowing silver eyes, had built a shining civilization here. They believed they were safe. They believed no enemy would ever reach their homeworld. They were wrong. Without warning, a fleet of unknown warships dropped from hyperspace. Their hulls were black, twisted, and pulsing with red veins. They were called the Cravenall. They spoke. No words, made no demands, and sent no warnings. They only came to destroy it in less than 1 hour. 5 cities on Andarian Prime had been reduced to ash. Zoltrian defense satellites were burned out of orbit. Their planetary shields cracked under pressure. Civilian ships tried to flee, but most were shot down. Zoltrian Council, proud rulers of the core worlds, could only watch in horror, and then, ... came the signal. It was sent in every direction, across every channel. One word, repeated 3 times. Help. Help. Like. 15 light-years away near Earth orbit, a quiet meeting was taking place in the underground command center of the United Earth Defense Alliance. President Elias Adar stood in front of a dozen generals. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "Replay the signal," he said. The room fell silent. The Zoltrian distress call played again, echoing through the chamber. Cries, explosions. Static. And then, "Please, Earth. We're dying." General Maya Chen clenched her jaw. After all the times they ignored us, after all the tech they refused to share, now they ask us to bleed? Another general spoke. "We're not part of this war. Let the core worlds handle it." President Adar didn't answer right away. He turned to a large screen showing a burning Andarian city. The fire reflected in his eyes. "They left us behind after the last treaty," Adar said. "They took the spoils. We buried our dead." He turned to the room. "But we are still human. And humans protect even those who don't deserve it." He raised a hand. "Deploy the 5th Fleet. Full combat readiness. Let the galaxy see who still answers the call." Orbit of Andarian Prime, 12 hours later. Cravenall fleet had begun their second wave. Now they targeted the planetary core reactors. The goal was total annihilation, then space ripped open. Human ships arrived in waves. At the front was the Resolute, an Earth's flagship with triple plasma cannons, railgun turrets, and a swarm of autonomous drones. Hundreds more followed, destroyers, cruisers, carriers. The Cravenall turned to face them. The first shots came from Earth's side. It was not a rescue. It was a battle. The Resolute broke through the enemy lines with a scream of metal and light. Behind it, Earth's fighters swarmed like insects, fast, coordinated, relentless. While the Zoltrians watched in shock, humans died by the hundreds to hold the line. Major Diaz, a squad leader aboard the carrier Donspic, guided his damaged fighter toward a Cravenall dreadnought. His ship was burning, but his voice was steady. "Tell my kids I flew for something bigger," he said. Then he rammed into the enemy ship's reactor. It exploded in a massive flash that lit up the dark side of the planet. 3 days later, Zoltrian Medical Command. Post-Captain Ray Henderson woke up with a broken leg and burns across half her body. She was lying in an alien medical pod. Zoltrian medic floated beside her, glowing hands gently scanning her chest. "You survived," the medic said softly. "Many of your kind did not." "How many?" Ray asked. The medic paused. "Your fleet lost. 37,000. Ray looked away. Her mouth went dry. "They fought for your people," she whispered. The medic looked ashamed. "Yes, and we will honor that." But Ray had seen the reports. Zoltrian forces had retreated in the early hours of battle. They let humans hold the line. Earth fought, bled, and died for stars that weren't theirs. Back on Earth united. Nations Assembly, Geneva. The room was packed. Screens showed the damage on Andarian Prime. Human soldiers lifting alien children from rubble. Medics working in smoke-filled fields. The world mourned their dead. But the politicians? They had questions. Was it worth it? One delegate asked, "Why weren't we rewarded with equal rights?" Another shouted, President Adar stood once again before a sea of angry leaders. His voice was calm. We acted because it was right. Not for reward, but they've already divided the spoils, someone yelled. We get no new colonies, no new tech, not even recognition. The room exploded into shouting. Adar looked at the screen again. A burned city, human soldier, crying beside a fallen friend, and then he gave his answer. If we are strong enough to save them, we are strong enough to build without them. Meanwhile, Galactic Core Council Hall, Deneb System, the Zoltrian Council, met in secret. Holograms of other races filled the room. They spoke in quiet tones. Earth's forces saved Endarian. Right. Now they ask for a seat at our table. They bled for us. We must consider it. They are primitive. One ambassador hissed. They don't belong in the core. An advisor from the Krell Dominion, a species known for strategy, leaned forward. You used them, he said coldly. They fought when you ran. Now they see the truth. Quiet silence followed. Then the Zeltrian High Speaker gave the final word. Earth must remain grateful but distant. The balance of power must not shift. 1 month later, hidden Earth base, Black Spire facility, was raining on the surface. But deep underground, the mood was dry and sharp. Commander Lena Voss reviewed the classified files. Dozens of Earth agents had intercepted messages from alien governments. One stuck out. Transmission. Interspecies coordinate level red Earth is useful, but must be contained. Never let them rise. Never share key technology. Lena stared at the file for a long time. Then she opened a sealed envelope marked Protocol Ember. Inside was one sentence. When the time comes, take everything. Final scene cliffhanger. Ending in a quiet hangar, human engineers were building something massive. Its outer layers shimmered like star metal. No one knew what it was yet, but it was not meant for defense. It was for the next war. Not the one humans fought for others. One they would fight for themselves. The golden banners of the galactic core fluttered above the planet Valeris. Music played from floating crystal speakers. Alien guests in shining robes filled the long glass corridors of the High Spire. The air smelled of sweet nectar and polished metals. It was called a peace celebration, the official end of the Cravenal War. But Earth's soldiers didn't feel like celebrating. Orbiting Valeris, Earth's diplomatic cruiser, U.S. Unity General Maya Chen stood on the observation deck, staring down at the world below. Valeris was beautiful. Clean skies, warm seas, elegant cities carved into mountainsides. But something felt wrong. Her aide, Captain Ron Bledsoe, stepped forward. Ma'am, we just received the event schedule. Maya took the glowing tablet. She scanned the list. Opening speeches, war honors, fleet parades, victory flags. But Earth's name wasn't mentioned. Not once. No speech slot, she asked. Bledsoe shook his head. They said there wasn't enough time. Maya closed her eyes. Her jaw clenched. We lost 37,000 in that war. I know, Ron said softly. But they don't care. Surface Grand Hall of Peace. Volaris Room was massive walls made of crystal and stone. Thousands of alien diplomats, military leaders, and nobles filled the space. A grand circular table stood at the center, with chairs labeled by species. When the Earth's delegation arrived, they searched for their seat. There wasn't one. No flag. No chair, no hologram nameplate. Ambassador Lucia Hart approached a Zoltrian host, her voice steady but sharp. Where is Earth's seat? The Zoltrian blinked. Apologies. There must have been an error. Lucia raised an eyebrow. An error that forgot the species that saved Endarian Prime? The host gave a tight smile. We are grateful. But Earth is still an outer world, not a core member. She turned and walked away. Lucia stood frozen. Round her the room laughed, clinked glasses, and gave medals to species who'd contributed almost nothing to the war. Broadcast room. Behind the scenes, Aerith Tech officer monitored the live event stream. His eyes narrowed as the speech list updated. One by one, leaders took the stage. the Krell, the Zoltrians, the Thune, even the Hydralians, who had only sent 2 ships. Then the final speaker was announced. High Speaker Zalar. Of the core worlds, no mention of President Adar, no Earth speech, no closing words from the species that turned the tide. The tech officer sent a silent message back to Earth. Betrayal confirmed. Back on Earth, United Earth Defense Command President Adar read the message on his desk. Around him, his advisors were silent. They erased us. One whispered, another added. We were pawns, disposable. Adar didn't speak. He stood, walked to the window, and stared at the stars above the Pacific sky. After a long pause, he turned and gave a quiet command. Initiate Protocol Ember. What is Protocol Ember? Hidden deep within Earth's defense systems was a file created years ago, back when humanity was still climbing out of its last great war. The file was simple. It held plans, blueprints, and fallback operations. But most importantly, it held a vision for what Earth would do if the galaxy ever turned its back on them. It was never about starting a war, it was about ending weakness. Secret facility, Ice Moon Base. Europa, tunnels buzzed. With energy, engineers worked in silence. Drones moved crates labeled Project Iron Veil and GhostNet. Commander Lena Voss arrived with her team. They entered a sealed lab where old AI cores were being reactivated. Their glowing lights flickered on one by one machines once too dangerous to use during peace. We'll need them now, Lena whispered. The mask has fallen. A young technician nearby frowned. Won't this start something worse? Lena turned, her voice cold. They already started it. We're just making sure we finish it. Meanwhile, aboard the UES Unity, the Earth delegation quietly left the celebration. No speech, no medals, no honors. Maya Chen sat in her cabin, replaying old news clips from the war. Videos of human soldiers pulling alien civilians from wreckage. Dying Marines using their last breath to activate shield generators that protected. Alien cities? She turned off the screen. They used us, she said. Ron nodded. And now they've discarded us. But before Maya could speak again, a priority message came in. It was from Lena Voss. Phase 1 activated. Return to Earth. Quietly. Alien Council Chamber, Krell, Dominion A private meeting was underway. Several powerful alien races were present. They were watching Earth's reaction to the celebration. She didn't protest, said one. No threats, no demands. Strange. The Krell strategist, Elder Veruin, tapped his claws together. Earth is many things. Proud, kind, strong. But never forget, they are also clever. What are you suggesting? Asked a Zoltrian advisor. They're not protesting, Veruin said slowly. They're preparing. The room fell silent. Earth. Intelligence Division intercepted message in Earth spy. Ship floating near the Thune border intercepted a high-level message between 2 core world diplomats. The content was short, but clear. Contain Earth's influence. Delay their tech growth. Deny expansion rights. They must remain behind. The message was forwarded directly to President Adar. His reply was not a word. It was a file. The title, The Future is No Longer Shared. Final scene cliffhanger, ending in a deep-sea vault below the Mariana Trench. Something ancient and powerful, powered on for the first time in decades. Blue lights pulsed. Systems hummed to life. AI voices whispered old command codes. The chamber. Door opened. A woman in a black uniform stepped forward. We gave them peace, she said. They gave us silence. She placed her hand on a glowing console. In the deepest trench of Earth's oceans, beneath layers of pressure and silence, something ancient was waking. A vault older than the current United Earth government rumbled to life. Emergency lights blinked red. A countdown began. Warning. Ember Protocol online. Inside the vault, 4 machines came alive. Machines banned by every galactic treaty. Each was black, sleek, and covered in strange hexagonal armor. One had no cockpit. One had no engine. One hummed with emotion-based. energy. And the last just sat in silence, cold and waiting. Then a robotic voice echoed through the chamber. Authorization confirmed. Begin project. Retribution. Earth high orbit. U.S. Resolute flagship General Maya Chen stood at the war table. Staring at the holomap, beside her was Commander Lena Voss. Both had changed since the peace celebration. Their eyes were colder, their decisions faster. The map showed dots across the galaxy. Most were alien trade routes, mining stations, and communication hubs. Lena tapped one of them, a Krell data relay hub. Soft target, she said. We jam it, and the core won't see what's coming next. Maya nodded. Begin the GhostNet insertion. Quiet, surgical. No casualties. We're not monsters, Lena added. But we won't be used again, Maya finished. Meanwhile, Galactic Council. Core systems, the alien leaders were too busy celebrating to notice. Earth's movements, they assumed humanity would stay quiet. They assumed wrong. The Zeltrians were preparing a new fleet for exploration. The Thune were sealing trade deals. The Hydralians were pushing laws to block Earth from new colonies. None of them noticed that. Earth had already vanished from most of the galactic communication grid. A Krell ambassador looked up suddenly from his screen. Where did Earth's traffic go? His assistant blinked. Their systems went dark an hour ago. All of them. The room fell still. One word echoed through the council. Why? Back on Earth? Black Spire facility. Northern Rocky's hundreds of engineers and ex-intelligence officers were working underground. They wore no official uniforms. Their orders came from Protocol Ember Direct, clear and final. Above them hung a massive new warship under construction. Its hull wasn't metal-lit. It was a living blend of synthetic muscle and smart alloy, taken from reverse-engineered Cravenal wreckage. Codename, Retribution Class, Leviathan. It was designed not for defense, but for correction. Dr. Harper Ng, lead scientist on the project, walked along a narrow catwalk. She looked up at the monstrous ship and whispered, "We bled for them. They learn what that really cost." First strike, GhostNet in action on the edge of Krell space. An Earth stealth cruiser deployed a GhostNet satellite. It looked like a floating piece of space debris. In seconds, it hacked the nearest Core-Com beacon. Messages between top core leaders began flooding Earth's deep AI vaults. Every lie, every betrayal, every blocked offer, dismissed request, and secret insult about the primitives from Earth. Earth didn't respond. They just copied everything. Public distraction, Earth's fake withdrawal, galactic news. Earth diplomats began giving polite, quiet messages. We respect the Council's decision. Earth will take time too. Recover. We have no plans to expand further. Alien leaders sighed with relief. The humans were pulling back. The threat had passed. But they didn't see what was building in the shadows. Humanity's real plans begin. Asteroid fields once marked restricted. Earth fleets began setting up automated refineries powered by mini-stars. New resource. Chains flowed through secret warp corridors called blind routes. Black site research labs opened on moons with no names, and in the skies over Titan. Earth's newest soldiers trained in secret armory, motion-powered mech suits capable of learning mid-battle. One suit bonded with a pilot instantly. It spoke to her in her thoughts. "You lost brothers in the Andarian fire," she gasped. "How do you know that?" "'Cause I remember their screams too." She looked down at her hands. Then she whispered, "Let's make them pay." Meanwhile, the Zeltrian Council grows. Nervous reports began coming in. Earth ships not responding to scans. Human bases no longer sharing data. Entire trade zones offline. An ambassador leaned forward in fear. "They're vanishing." Up the high. Speaker growled, "Let them vanish. Earth needs us more than we need them." But in a corner of the chamber, an old Zoltrian general whispered something few heard. "No, we needed them, and now we've made them our enemy." Final scene, President Adar's message cliffhanger, ending inside a dark control room. President Elias Adar stood before a screen showing every human fleet in deep space. He spoke not to the galaxy, but to every human commander, scientist, and mech pilot across the stars. His message was short. Clear, cold. The galaxy watched us die. The galaxy cheered when we left. But we remember, and now, so will they. Turned to Lena Voss. Phase 2? She nodded. Ready. Adar gave a single command. Begin the Ember Wave. Lights turned red. Engines powered on. And across the stars, Earth's fleets began to move not for war. The planet Relikar was peaceful. It didn't have military bases, no shipyards, no weapons. It was a quiet trade world home to scholars, scientists, and farming families. The sun rose gently over blue plains. Alien children played in the dust, while traders unloaded spices from far systems. Then came the flicker, a shimmer in the sky, a ripple silent, cold, and then the sky tore open. From above, something huge and black slid into view. It had no visible markings, no IFF tags, no warning shots, just presence. The people of Relikar looked up, confused. Then the broadcasts began. Not in Zoltrian tongue, not Krell. It was English. Your leaders erased our names. We were your shield. You forgot. But we remember. This world will remain untouched. But your skies now belong to Earth. All weapons fired. No buildings destroyed. But the stars above were no longer theirs. Earth's Ember Wave begins. Across the galaxy, Earth's secret fleets began to move. Not with violence, but precision. They didn't destroy cities. They didn't bomb planets. Instead, they struck. Relay satellites went dark. Starport AI systems were replaced with human code. Trade convoys found themselves locked out of their own lanes. Navigation gates were rerouted through Earth-controlled systems. The core worlds began to panic, and still, not a single shot was fired inside a core world command room. Panic and denial. The Zoltrian leadership met in a panic. Holograms blinked with red alerts. Another system taken, one said. They're cutting us off. But how? Another shouted. We don't see their ships? The high strategist looked grim. Because they aren't using our systems. They're using their own. Their own gates, their own comes. They've built an invisible empire under our noses. But they're primitives, one stammered. No, the strategist said quietly. Not anymore. Meanwhile, Earth's Ghost Fleet Command deep in the Oort cloud. Earth's hidden command center floated in silence. Commander Lena Voss stood over a table with dozens of holographic stars. Some glowed red, others flickered yellow. She tapped Wungroth IV, a world known for training Zoltrian officers. Next. No strike, asked her second in command. No, just silence it. Take their Starlink. Let them feel the cold. A quiet moment passed. Lena added, We're not monsters. We're not them. No blood unless they start it. A small light blinked green. Its operation complete. Another world cut off. Galactic Broadcast Earth speaks. Once President Elias Adar stood before the Black Earth flag. Behind him was no government. Chamber but a starfield. Endless, dark, real. He looked straight at the camera. We came when your cities burned. We fought when your armies fell. You made promises, then you forgot us. Now, we take your future not with war, but with memory. We will not be erased, and we will not be ignored. He raised his hand. The screen behind him showed 10 systems now marked with the Earth's sigil. This is not conquest. This is correction. Alien reactions divide begins across the galaxy. Reactions split. Some species grew terrified of Earth. Some tried to contact human diplomats, but got no reply. Others laughed and said Earth would burn itself out. But a third group, the smaller, outer worlds, watched closely. They remembered the war. They remembered who really saved them. On a mining moon called Jalatar, a small alien child stood by his mother. He pointed at the sky where a dark human ship was passing quietly. "Mom," he asked, "are they here to hurt us?" She stared up, eyes wide. "No, child, they're just reminding the galaxy." A spark of rebellion. Krell, military fractures, in. The Krell military command, several younger commanders began questioning their orders. Why did we betray Earth? Why do we still follow the council that abandoned our people in the Andarian fire? One by one, they whispered behind closed doors. Then one bold captain defected. He left the Krell border in a stolen cruiser and sent a message to Earth. We remember your dead on our soil. I was a child when your soldiers held the line for us. If you will have me offer my ship. Earth's reply was simple. You remember, you're welcome. A secret weapon unleashed, the Skybreaker protocol back at Blackspire. The final piece of Earth's Ember Wave activated, a massive orbital structure called. The Skybreaker was completed above Mars. It had no weapons, just gravity control. It was built to disable fleets, not destroy. It could pull ships out of FTL. It could disrupt warp lanes. Its power. Control of movement. For a galaxy built on speed and trade, this was more terrifying than any gun. Final scene, the core's blind. Response cliffhanger. The Galactic Council finally reacted. We will send a message to Earth. The Zoltrian speaker said. They must be reminded of their place. A fleet of 400 ships launched. They moved toward a small Earth-controlled world called New Lisbon, expecting no resistance. But when they dropped out of warp, they found nothing. No cities, no lights, just an empty world with one beacon. You erased us once. Try again. We are ready now. And behind them, from the void, came Earth's ghost fleet, silent, cloaked, already surrounding them. Space is cold. But this part felt dead. The Zoltrian Armada 400 ships strong hovered above the silent planet of New Lisbon. Weapons armed, shields up, commanders ready. But nothing moved below. No humans answered their hails. Captain Roll, commander of the Zoltrian flagship Veristol, frowned. Scan again. Psst. Where is their defense fleet? Before his sensor officer could speak, the lights inside the bridge flickered. Then everything went dark. Weapons lost power. Shields dropped. Engines failed. Every ship paralyzed. And then the stars themselves seemed to shift. A ripple passed through the void from behind asteroid shadows. From warped pockets of space they arrived. Hundreds of black, silent ships. No lights, no markings, just presence, the ghost fleet. They moved slowly, surrounding the Zoltrian ships, but not one shot was fired. The message the Zoltrians watched in silence. Then a single broadcast echoed across their fleet directly into every ship's neural core. A voice, calm, human, familiar. You brought 400 ships to make us kneel. You believed we would run. But this is Earth's space now. You will not be harmed. But you will leave. You will remember. A countdown began. 059, 058, 057. Panic spread through the Zoltrian ranks. Captain Roll clenched his fists. We're being mocked, but he knew one move, and they'd all die. At 001, every Zoltrian ship powered back up. Without warning, the ghost fleet vanished as if it had never been there. The message was clear. Earth didn't need to fight. It had already won. Meanwhile, Earth High Command. Blackspire Commander Lena Voss watched from the command room, her fingers steepled. They blinked. President Adar appeared on the screen. Good, he said. Now it's time to show the rest of the galaxy what restraint looks like. Until someone doesn't deserve it, Voss asked. Adar nodded. Exactly. Across the galaxy. Panic and Praise-Elian news networks exploded with the footage. Leaked scans. Unexplained power losses. Hushed voices from the Zoltrian fleet. They couldn't deny what happened. Earth could have killed them all, but didn't. Some called it terror. Others, justice. Smaller worlds, those abandoned during the Great War, began to whisper. Maybe it's time we talk to Earth again. They didn't fire. That means something. They remember who we were. Do we remember them? The Krell make a choice back on Krell Prime. The young defected captain who had joined Earth returned, but not. As a fugitive, he landed with an Earth delegation beside him. His message, the future isn't with the Council. It's with the ones who bled for us. A massive crowd gathered. Some threw stones, but more listened. Within a week, several Krell outer colonies declared neutrality from the Galactic Council, and Earth sent food, power cells, water filters, no. Strings attached inside the Zaltrian Council denial cracks. The Zaltrian speaker pounded his staff. We were humiliated, but not all agreed. Ambassador Vesh, a veteran of the war where humans saved their capital, stood slowly, humiliated. No, we were spared, because they want fear, someone shouted. No, Vesh said, because they want us to think. He turned off his screen and walked away. The chamber grew quiet. Humanities. Next move, the pact rewritten, a hidden orbital ring above Neptune. Earth brought together outer world representatives, aliens. Humans? Exiles? No council members, no. Politics, just voices that had been ignored. Earth laid out a new pact. Shared trade with respect. Mutual aid, not control. No empire, only alliance. The title of the plan, the Pact of the Forgotten. Some were skeptical, but one voice, an elderly Relicari farmer, spoke first. I remember when a human gave me his last ration pack. He died that day. I didn't. I signed this pact for him. One by one, they signed. A message sent to the council, bold and fine lay small drone ship, landed on the steps of the Galactic Council Hall. Inside, a cube played a hologram of President Adar. We will not fight you unless you force us to. We will not beg you for a seat at your table. We've built our own. Those who remember are welcome. The rest may watch from the dark. Final scene. The silence before the storm, cliffhanger far beyond the stars. Something stirred. In a secret facility, hidden even from Earth. A human scientist walked into a massive chamber. In it stood a machine, unlike any other. Not a ship, not a weapon, a judge. It pulsed with human memories, war, betrayal, death, sacrifice. Above it, a single phrase burned in red. When mercy ends, the scientist sighed. We're not there yet. But they're pushing us. He turned off the lights. Galaxy held its breath. The planet Neuralas was nothing special. Just a mining rock floating near a red dwarf. No weapons, no fleet. Only old miners and rusted stations. But one morning, the sky above Neuralas turned white. Dozens of sleek ships dropped from warp. Not Zaltrian. Not Council human. But these weren't ghost fleet ships. These were packed vessels, a mix of alien and human designs. Silent, fast, clean, inside one of them. A message played. This system is now under pact protection. No more taxes. No more resource gifts to the core. You belong to yourselves now. Neuralas didn't cheer. They didn't believe it. Until Earth delivered its promise. Minutes later, freighters arrived, carrying food, fresh equipment, medicine, and engineers. For the first time in 80 years, Neuralas had running water again. And the Zaltrian overseers? They were already gone. The pact becomes real. Earth's quiet alliance was no longer theory. It was operational, from the outer colonies to old war zones. Pact ships arrived not to conquer but to repair. They restored broken relay towers. They offered power cores to villages. They brought alien children vaccines their own council never delivered, and always. Their message was the same. We bled for you, you forgot. But we didn't. We offer no chains, only memory. But Earth wasn't just giving in return, worlds gave back. Ograk 7 offered mining rights freely. Kaleri traders rerouted their caravans to Earth ports. The Krell Outer Ring signed the pact, officially breaking ranks with the Council. And each time Earth gained a new ally, quiet signal went out. The Ghost Fleet updated its maps. The pact now had teeth. Inside the Galactic Council, desperate talks. The core worlds were boiling. Taxes dropped, convoys vanished, entire sectors weren't answering orders. The Council met in secret. This is sedition, one counselor barked. The humans are building a rebellion. Another snapped. Then why aren't we stopping them? We have fleets, a voice from the corner answered. Ambassador Vesh, they have something more dangerous than fleets, he said quietly. They have truth. The Black Chain incident, Earth's first strike, But not every world wanted peace. The Zoltrian warlord Kravat Hel, operating independently from the Council, launched a surprise attack on Freeport Juna, a pact-aligned world. He didn't use soldiers. He used a black market AI virus. It melted the port's data systems and shut down air recycling. 3,200 aliens died. Many were children. Earth responded in 4 hours, not with diplomacy, but with protocol. 0. The Ghost Fleet emerged in orbit of Hell's private moon-fortress. They sent one message: you broke the line. Now you face the weight of memory. No warnings. No surrender. The fortress was shattered in 3 minutes. And then they left. The galaxy reacts. Their serious alien news networks debated Earth's action. Some said it was brutal. Some said it was justice. But one thing was now certain: the pact could defend itself. And no one council or warlord was untouchable. On the trade station, Valen's Rest, an old merchant said quietly, "They're not playing anymore. Mercy had limits. We reached them." Internal Earth conflict lines are tested. Not everyone on Earth agreed with the pace. In Geneva 3, a debate raged among Earth's senior leaders. "Are we becoming what we hated?" asked one diplomat. "We're becoming what we had to be," President Dadar replied. Power backed by restraint. "But if they cross the line, we end it." Voss, watching silently, whispered, "The line keeps moving." Alien defectors joined the pact. The galaxy began to shift. A famous Zoltrian engineer defected, bringing secrets of Council Gate systems. A Krell squadron fully broke from their command and flew to Earth, carrying war survivors who'd hidden for decades. An old LRA medic sent one final broadcast: "I owe my life to a human sergeant who dragged me out of fire on Varak. He died. I didn't. I signed the pact in his name." Earth's memory was now shared. Cliffhanger. The Council's last move in the shadows. The Council launched a plan. A secret fleet hidden from public eyes, armed with anti-II disruptors, planet burner rounds, and gravitic silence fields. Its mission? Strike Earth directly. End the pact. Kill the idea. The fleet's name. The Silencer Armada. And it was already en route. But Earth already knew. A final shot shows Blackspire base going red. Commander Voss turns, her voice cold. "The Silencers are coming. Then we show them what a forgotten species can really do." They didn't come through the gates. They came through the dark. 30 ships painted black. Shielded from sensors, pulsing with silence, tech emerged past Neptune's edge. The Silencer Armada had arrived. They didn't send messages. They didn't demand surrender. It came to a race. Their goal: destroy Earth's AI grid, shatter Blackspire base, detonate a gravitic implosion in the heart of Sol system, make Earth vanish from history. But as their lead ship approached Pluto, something unexpected happened. The planet was gone, not destroyed, missing. In its place floated a single object, a black cube the size of a city. The lead Silencer captain, Vardam Nor, stared at it. "Scan it." No response. The cube gave off no signals. Then it spoke. "This system remembers." A flash. A pulse. And the cube collapsed into a black hole for a fraction of a second, enough to drag one of the Silencer cruisers into oblivion. Rest backed away fast, but it was too late. Sol had seen them, and the humans were waiting. Earth's first strike, Blackspire, awakens on the icy moon of Ganymede. Blackspire Defense Corps went active. Massive underground silos opened. Hundreds of Nova Javelin missiles launched into orbit. Defense satellites activated, cloaked eyes. But the real defense was never firepower. It was anticipation. Earth had known this was coming, and they'd already turned their home system into a trap. The fleet that wasn't. There the Silencer Armada expected resistance. They didn't expect emptiness. Their scans found no large Earth fleet in Sol. No warships in orbit. It's just silence. Where's their defense line? Nor growled. That's when Earth struck from within. The asteroid belt came alive. It wasn't rocks. It was mobile stealth platforms, dozens of them, armed with railguns, gravitic snare beams, and disassemblers. The first Silencer frigate was Shredded before it could turn, inside the ghost grid, cyberwar ignites at the same time. Earth's AI network, nicknamed the Ghost Grid, launched a silent war. Silencer ships began to misfire. Shields flickered. One systems failed. One silencer destroyer turned and accidentally fired on its own squadron. The grid was bending reality. But it wasn't just machines fighting. Humans were still in control. Deep inside Blackspire, Commander Voss coordinated every move with calm precision. They wanted silence, she said. Give them echoes, council watches, and panics far from Sol, in the council's high chamber. Panic spread. Live footage leaked from a hidden satellite. The silencer Armada was losing. The legendary flight, unstoppable, untraceable, was being dismantled, piece by piece. By humans. Ambassador Vesh stood in the shadows, watching his peers argue. They're not fighting for dominance, he whispered. They're fighting to never be forgotten again. Humanities. Memory weapon unleashed as the silencer fleet tried to regroup near Mars. Earth played its final card. A ship emerged larger than anything the Council had ever built. Not a weapon. A vessel of memory. The EHS Reverence. Its hull glowed with names, millions of names of soldiers. Scientists, children, diplomats, all who had died in the forgotten war. The ship didn't fire. It projected a massive pulse swept across space. And in every silencer's mind, the memories returned. The screams of burning cities. The human medics saving alien lives. The Council turning its back. One silencer captain wept. Another deactivated his engines. Then one ship turned, surrendered. Then another, and another final blow. Humanity doesn't finish them with only 10 silencer ships remaining. Commander Voss gave the order, do not destroy them. Let them go. Let them live with what they saw. Earth didn't need victory by fire. It had victory through remembrance. The silence that followed as the silencer remnants limped away from Sol. The galaxy went quiet. No one cheered. No one mocked. Even the Council said nothing, because everyone had seen it. Earth wasn't just powerful, it was wise, measured and dangerously patient, and it had drawn a line. Cross it and we will not forget again. Cliffhanger. Ending. They still don't understand. In a hidden chamber beneath Blackspire, Commander Voss stood alone. Behind her, President Adar arrived. It worked, he said. They'll pause, Voss replied. But they still don't understand. What do we do next? Voss turned to a screen that showed hundreds of alien worlds signing into the pact each day. Next, she said. We stop being a warning. She tapped a screen. Become a standard. Then she looked at Earth, glowing outside the window. Because mercy isn't weakness, it's the last weapon. It began with one message. A single, shaky transmission from an alien child on Renther for a mining world forgotten by the Galactic Council. She stared into the camera. Her eyes were wide, her voice cracked. My village was starving. Then, ships came. Not to take, to give. They said they were from Earth. They didn't even ask for anything. Why would they do that? We forgot them. We let them bleed. Why are they helping us? The broadcast went viral across 12 systems in 3 hours, then across 100. Systems, then everywhere. And that was the day the galaxy stopped seeing Earth as a ghost from the past. That was the day they saw Earth as a future they wanted. The Council crumbles in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Silence ruled. For centuries they held power through fear, wealth, and control. But now, entire worlds were leaving. Council beacons flickered out one by one. Some members resigned, others disappeared. A few begged Earth for talks, but Earth never replied. Not out of pride, but because they had moved on. The pact becomes the pulse. Pact of the Forgotten wasn't just a loose alliance now. It was becoming a governing system, flexible, fair, built on memory and shared strength. For every world that joined Earth, offered tech, food, protection, and history, Pact schools began teaching the forgotten war as truth. hospitals used Earth-grown healing algorithms. Trade ran through new star lanes, not through council checkpoints, but through packed nexus hubs and everywhere. Earth ships stood guard, not with fear, but with presence. A visitor at Earth's gate one day. A council envoy arrived in Sol System under White Flag Protocol. They were afraid of being shot down, but Earth let them land. The envoy, nervous, stepped onto Earth soil. President Adar met them at the landing platform, flanked by leaders of the Pactalian and Human. "I come to speak on behalf of the surviving council members," the envoy said. Adar didn't smile. "You're not here to speak," he replied. "You're here to listen." The speech that echoed across stars. Adar stood on the Unity platform, once a war memorial. At the heart of the pact, he spoke plainly, clearly, 2 billions watching. "We do not seek revenge. We do not seek rule. We remember what you forgot, that the strong protect the weak. That mercy is earned through fire. That sacrifice matters. We are forgotten. But now we are the ones who won't forget you. Join us not because you fear us. Join us because deep inside, you remember who we used to be." Galactic. Response: an unfolding wave. The reaction was like a tide. The Krell homeworld voted to dissolve all council ties permanently. The Ilari, once proud members of the core, sent Earth a sculpture made from the armor of their fallen anapology, and an offer. On Zaltris Prime, schoolchildren now sang a song written by a human war orphan. Even those who once hated Earth were changing because Earth didn't return to take revenge. They returned to give something far more powerful: hope. Behind the scenes, Earth's real power inside Blackspire Command. Voss stood at a holomap showing growing packed systems. But next, to her, deep underground, was something few ever saw: a chamber filled with sealed canisters. Inside each, a weapon, a memory, a relic. "Why keep them?" a young pact officer asked. "Because peace," Voss said, "only matters when the sword stays sheathed, but never forgotten." The final memory broadcast one. Final transmission was sent galaxy-wide. It was not a warning, it was a memory. Footage from the Abatan War. Humans carrying wounded aliens. Medics using bare hands to keep people alive. Young girl offering her only blanket to a dying Zaltrian pilot. Then silence, and the words, "You forgot us, but we never forgot you. We don't ask for apologies, just for truth." Year later, the Pact celebration. A year passed. In orbit around Earth, a new station floated, the Memorial Ring, built by humans and aliens together. It was not a military base, it was a monument. Names etched in glass and alloy. Faces, stories, losses, victories. Visitors from across the galaxy walked its halls. Some cried, some knelt. All remembered, and above it all, one phrase burned in gold: "From memory, we rise." Final scene: the future begins. President Adar stepped aside. "Commander." Voss retired to raise her daughter. The pact continued to grow. A young alien girl from Renther, for the one who made the first. Broadcast stood at the head of a new academy, and, orbiting above her world, a single pact vessel kept watch, bearing no weapons. Only a symbol, a human hand holding an alien one.